Today on Sports Central, we'll be going over our next scheduled preview this offseason, and it will be over the Oregon Ducks. And this is a team that made it to the Rose Bowl last season. They also won the Pac-12, but will they be able to do that once again in the 2020 season is what we're going over here today. We're going to be going over a few players that this team will be losing, who they're going to be returning, and also going over their schedule for the first time this offseason. Starting off with the games this team has had since November, we start off on November 2nd when they played USC on the road. That was a higher scoring one, but they got it done 56-24. They also had a win against Arizona, blowout win there, 34-6. Then the Arizona State game definitely ruined Oregon's chances of making the college football playoff last season. They lost that one 28-31. But yeah, certainly, for Oregon, if they could have won that one and won out, I certainly think that they could have made the college football playoff. But it didn't really work out that way. But I'm sure their chances are still great going into 2020. But nonetheless, they played Oregon State to finish off the regular season. Good win there, 24-10. Then they played Utah in the Pac-12 championship December 6th. And that was a blowout win there, 37-15. Utah did not play that well that day. And then they played Wisconsin in the Rose Bowl, which quite honestly, the Rose Bowl was probably the best bowl game that there was. And yep, they ended up winning that one 28-27. Very close game throughout. But yeah, Oregon got the win there in the end. They won the Rose Bowl last season. But nonetheless, they were 7-1 between September and October, and then 5-1 between November and the postseason, so this team was very consistent last season. They did drop a couple of games that certainly should have been winnable ones, but yeah, either way for Oregon, still a great season, no doubt on that one. Moving on to returning production, they lose their star quarterback Justin Herbert. As you know, he went very early in this previous NFL draft, and he's now gone from this team. He had over 3,400 yards last season with 32 touchdowns and 6 interceptions, so he had a big impact on this team last season. They do return their top running back in C.J. Verdell. That's going to be a huge return, as he had just right around 1,400 yards last season with 8 touchdowns. They also return their second running back in Travis Dye, which was another really impactful running back. He had right over 800 yards and 1 touchdown. So, yeah, this rushing core is going to be great heading into next season. They'll probably be the best in the Pac-12, no doubt on that. I mean, when you got C.J. Verdell and Travis Dye, they both combined for over 2,100 yards of offense last season, almost 2,200. And when you're returning both of them, I mean, I could expect those guys to possibly put up over 2,500 yards next season. I mean, it's definitely possible. They do return their top wide receiver in Johnny Johnson III, and he had just over 800 yards of offense with 7 touchdowns last season. They also return their second wide receiver in Jalen Redd, which he had just over 470 yards with 9 touchdowns. But they do lose their third wide receiver in Juwan Johnson. So they do lose one impactful receiver in their receiving core. As Juwan Johnson, he had just right around 500 yards last season, so yeah, it's going to be tough to lose him. But the real impacts that are going to be on the offensive line, this team loses 4 offensive linemen, so basically they're going to have a brand new offensive line heading into 2020. That is a very concerning for me, in my opinion. I mean, when you lose an entire offensive line, that can cause problems to your quarterback, and of course, they don't have Justin Herbert anymore. They're going to have a new quarterback under center, so yeah, it'll be interesting there. But otherwise, I mean, their running back and receiving cores, basically all the skill players, are really, really good heading into next season. I think they'll be very, very good, especially in the rushing core. So the offensive line is going to be a little bit iffy, but otherwise, I mean, this defense is looking pretty good. They do lose 2 defensive linemen, 2 linebackers, so they do have 4 losses, but yeah, that's pretty average. Typically, you'll see 3 to 4 losses off of most defenses. So yeah, will Oregon win the Pac-12 again? I'd say they're my early favorite, especially if they can get a good quarterback. Of course, I think they'll be just fine in the quarterback position, but it just depends on how he does. But nonetheless, I still think Oregon definitely is going to be competing for it. I think they'll be right up there with probably one of 2 teams that can make it next season. And yeah, I'd expect them to be able to make it to the Rose Bowl. I'm not sure if they'll make it to the college football playoff next season. I mean, it's definitely possible, no doubt on that, but I'm gonna hold them to a Pac-12 championship right now. But yeah, chances of making college football playoff once again, I'm not very sure on that. I think it's still really early to tell. But there are a lot of great SEC and Big Ten teams next season. I think we could see 2 SEC teams making the college football playoff next season, so that really limits the space for the Pac-12. And of course, yeah, the Pac-12 has always been kind of considered as the worst Power 5 conference. And even though I actually think the Pac-12 was better than the Big 12 last season, I mean, you could still make an argument either way. But yeah, for the college football playoff, it's going to be really tough for Oregon to be able to do it, especially after losing Justin Herbert. If any season they could have made it, it would have definitely been last season. Definitely with having Justin Herbert and all the talent on this offense, this team had a ton of potential to do that. But yeah, once again, it just came down to a couple games, didn't really work out. But yeah, either way, I'm sure Oregon will make it again in the future. Moving on to your schedule for Oregon, here's what we're looking at. And it's going to be a tougher schedule for this team. Of course, you got North Dakota State to start off the season on September 5th. Then you got Ohio State and Hawaii. At least you got all 3 of those games at home, which all 3 of those games are not going to be easy. I mean, North Dakota State is FCS, but yeah, they are obviously one of the better FCS teams. And yeah, you got Ohio State. Of course, we all know how good Ohio State is, and I expect them to be a very relevant college football playoff contender next season. Then Hawaii also made a bowl game too, so yeah, certainly those 3 games will be tougher. Then you got Colorado on the road in Boulder. Then you got Washington, California, Stanford, and Arizona in your October. Then in November you got Southern Cal, Arizona State, Washington State, and then Oregon State to finish off the season. And yeah, here's what I'm expecting. I'll give you 3 guaranteed wins. This is a bit of a tougher schedule, but yeah, I certainly think Oregon is going to be up for it. And that Ohio State game, though, on the second week, that's going to be a really good one right there. Really looking forward to that one. But yeah, either way, you got 3 guaranteed wins: North Dakota State, Hawaii, and Stanford. I consider putting Arizona on there, but since it's a road game, I decided not to. And then that Oregon State game down there, you might be wondering about that one as well. I think Oregon State actually is going to be a good team next season. I think they definitely have potential to make a bowl game. That's a team to watch out for sure. But yeah, record estimation 10-2 to 11-1. I'm going to say, or I'm going to give you a 2-game window. So yeah, typically I'll give you a 3. But either way, yeah, for Oregon, I'm pretty confident they'll go between 10-2 and 11-1. I mean, I can't imagine Oregon getting more than 2 losses on this schedule. I mean, even if you have Ohio State as 1, really the second one is really tough to find on here. I mean, you could consider maybe Washington State on the road. Maybe that could trip them up. I don't know, Washington. But either way, I definitely think Oregon should be able to get up to 10 wins once again next season. But yeah, either way, that's about it for the schedule preview. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on Oregon. Let me know whether you disagree with anything that I said here. But yeah, thank you all for watching once again. Be sure to stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to slap a like on it, subscribe as well. It really helps out the channel, and I'd really appreciate that. But once again, thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for more. I will see you all later.